I never imagined I'd become the kind of homeowner who can't stand their own HOA. But life has a funny way of surprising you. In the beginning, everything felt perfect. I had just purchased my dream home in what looked like a peaceful, picture-perfect neighborhood. The HOA guidelines seemed reasonable enough. Keep the lawn trimmed, avoid outrageous paint colors, the usual stuff. As a military veteran, structure and discipline don't bother me. In fact, I welcome them. So I figured this would be smooth sailing. I share my home with two highly trained Belgian Malinois, Rex and Sasha. They aren't just pets, they're family, and they're part of my personal security. I made sure to follow every rule to the letter. I registered them with the HOA, submitted their vaccination records, and provided documentation of their professional training. Everything was transparent and approved. For the first few months, life was calm. The neighbors were welcoming. The yard stayed immaculate, and the HOA didn't seem to have a problem with me. Then Karen moved in next door. It didn't take long for her to position herself as the unofficial queen of the HOA. Almost overnight, violation notices started appearing in my mailbox. My trash cans had been visible from the street for 2 hours too long. A lone dandelion had dared to bloom in my flower bed. Even my flagpole, flying the American flag, was suddenly inconsistent with a new aesthetic she was pushing. Every notice was petty, nitpicky, and stamped with the HOA board's approval, though it was obvious whose fingerprints were really on them. I complied each time, even when it irritated me, because all I wanted was peace. I tried to be civil with Karen, but she'd lean over the fence, staring suspiciously at Rex and Sasha, muttering about aggressive-looking dogs. I calmly explained they were professionally trained working dogs, more disciplined than most people. She would just sniff dismissively and walk away. About a month ago, things escalated. I began receiving formal warnings for excessive noise, specifically dog barking. The accusation made no sense. Rex and Sasha are trained to remain silent unless there's a legitimate threat. I work from home and could count on one hand the number of times they barked all year. To eliminate any doubt, I installed additional security cameras. The footage confirmed exactly what I already knew: silence. I submitted the recordings to the HOA as proof. The notices didn't stop. Instead, they intensified. The letters now threatened fines. It became painfully obvious that Karen was fabricating complaints, and the board was approving them without question. I felt singled out, deliberately targeted. So I decided to attend the next HOA meeting and confront it head-on. The second I walked into the room, the air turned cold. Karen sat at the head of the table beside the board president, Bob, a man who looked like he regretted every life choice that had led him there. I presented my case calmly and professionally. I showed the video evidence, the time-stamped logs, everything. Karen simply smirked and said, "Video can be edited. We have to take residents' complaints seriously. Those dogs are a menace." The rest of the board nodded along. They voted to fine me $500 and demanded a professional K9 behavioral assessment, despite the extensive training documentation I had already provided. I was furious. I told them plainly that this was harassment, and I would not pay a cent based on fabricated accusations. That's when it crossed the line. 2 nights later, at 4 a.m., I woke to a subtle sound. Not a crash, not a bang, just a faint click at my front door. Rex and Sasha were instantly on their feet, silent, alert, positioned between my bedroom and the entryway. No barking, just a low, controlled growl vibrating in their chests. My heart pounded as I grabbed my phone and checked the front door camera. It was Bob and another board member, fumbling with keys at my front door. They were trying to get inside my house. I hit record on my phone and activated the camera's external speaker. "Can I help you, Bob?" My voice blasted through the small speaker, and both men nearly jumped out of their skin. Bob dropped the keys, his face drained of color. "What do you think you're doing trying to enter my home at 4 a.m? I demanded. He stuttered. We had reports of security alarm. We were just checking." "That's a lie," I cut in. "My alarm isn't going off, and you know it. You're attempting illegal entry, and it's all on camera." Right on cue, I gave Rex and Sasha a single command: not attack. Just speak. The sound that followed was explosive. 2 deep, Thunderous barks shattered the silence of the neighborhood. It wasn't chaos. It was controlled power. A warning from two serious, highly trained dogs announcing their presence. Bob and his accomplice panicked. They stumbled backward, nearly tripping over each other as they scrambled off my porch and sprinted down the driveway into the darkness. I saved the footage immediately. The next morning, I didn't just call police. I walked into the station with my tablet and showed the officer the video. His eyes widened as he watched. "That's unlawful entry," he said firmly. He took my statement and assured me they'd be visiting Bob very soon. Then I contacted my lawyer. When he saw the footage, he practically lit up. He drafted a formal letter to the HOA detailing the pattern of harassment, the fraudulent fines, and the attempted illegal entry, all supported by clear video evidence. The letter informed them we were filing suit against the HOA as an entity, and against Bob and the other board member personally, for harassment, attempted breaking and entering, and emotional distress. The fallout was swift. An emergency HOA meeting was called. I didn't attend, but my lawyer did. Apparently, once the homeowners saw the footage of their board president attempting to break into a veteran's home before dawn, the meeting erupted. The entire board, including Karen, was forced to resign on the spot. A new board was elected, and their first action was issuing me a formal written apology. All fines and complaints were immediately withdrawn. Meanwhile, Bob and his accomplice were charged and now have court dates looming. Karen listed her house for sale the following week. The new HOA board is professional, respectful, and understands boundaries. My neighbors now greet Rex and Sasha warmly, even bringing them treats. Around here, they're known as the neighborhood heroes. Sometimes you have to stand your ground, and sometimes it helps to have two very loyal, very loud partners standing with you. Thanks for hearing my story. If you battled an HOA nightmare of your own, share it below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.